You know what I love about this sport? Tennis gives you everything. The comebacks, the upsets, the rivalries, the heartbreak. But every once in a while, it gives you something even better than all of that. It gives you a story so human, so warm, so genuinely joyful that you forget for a second that you are watching a competition and you just feel something. Today's story is one of those. It involves a handwritten sign, a finger wag, a rumor that swept through the entire tennis world, and a 20-year-old from Manila who handled all of it with the kind of grace that makes you understand why an entire nation is completely, irrevocably obsessed with her. Welcome back to Courtside Classic, everybody. I'm Mira. Grab something warm, get comfortable, because we are going deep today. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you are going to feel something. Whether that is joy or secondhand embarrassment or just pure admiration for Alex Eala, I cannot say. Probably all three. Let us start at the beginning. Let us start in Dubai. The Dubai Tennis Championships, February 2026. Alex Eala had just defeated Romania's Sorana Cirstea in the third round, advancing to the quarterfinals of a WTA 1000 event, one of the biggest stages in women's tennis outside of the Grand Slams. The Design Duty Free Tennis Stadium was packed, as it always is when Eala plays. Filipino flags everywhere, the noise, the energy, the absolute electricity that follows this woman from city to city and continent to continent. She was gathering her things after the match, doing the usual post-victory routine, when a tournament staff member stopped her and said something unexpected. Turn around, look at the stands. So she turned around, and there, in the middle of that packed Dubai crowd, a woman was holding up a handwritten sign, bold letters, completely sincere, completely unhinged. The sign read, "And I need you to understand that this is real. This actually happened. Alex, marry my son, please." The crowd erupted. Not just the Filipino fans, everyone. Because how do you not react to that? It is the most beautiful, most chaotic, most perfectly human thing that has ever happened at a WTA tournament. This woman flew to Dubai, paid for her ticket, found a piece of cardboard, wrote out a marriage proposal on behalf of her son, who was presumably somewhere watching this unfold in absolute horror, and held it up for the entire stadium to see. And Alex Eala, she looked at it, she smiled, she shook her head, and then she did the finger wag, the slow, deliberate, unmistakable finger wag of a woman who has seen it all and is not, under any circumstances, being arranged into a marriage on a tennis court in the UAE. The moment was captured on video and shared everywhere almost instantly. Within hours, it had been viewed millions of times. The tennis world was losing its collective mind. Fans were tagging their friends. Mothers everywhere were quietly reconsidering whether they too should bring a sign to a tennis tournament. And somewhere out there, one young man was presumably in a very difficult conversation with his very enthusiastic mother. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because that one beautiful, hilarious, iconic moment planted a seed. And seeds, as anyone who has ever watched the internet work knows, have a way of growing into something much larger than anyone intended. The footage spread, the speculation spread with it, and within weeks of that Dubai finger wag, something extraordinary happened. Rumors began to circulate, genuinely, that Alex Eala was engaged. I want to be very clear with you, because this is Courtside Classic, and we do not do misinformation here. As of right now, there is no confirmed engagement. No official announcement has been made. No statement has come from Eala or her team confirming that she is engaged to anyone. The rumors that swept through the tennis world were exactly that. Rumors, fueled by a viral moment, amplified by a fan base of millions who love this woman with their whole hearts, and spread by an internet that moves faster than facts. But here is what I find genuinely fascinating about all of this. The rumors spread because people wanted them to be true, not in a gossipy, invasive way, but in the way you root for someone you love. The Filipino diaspora, the fans who have traveled from Manila to Melbourne to Dubai to Miami just to wave a flag and scream her name, they do not just want Alex Eala to win trophies. They want her to be happy. They want her whole life to be as extraordinary as her tennis has been. And when a rumor appeared that suggested she had found love, they celebrated it. because that is what you do when someone means that much to you. And speaking of love, before we go any further, I have to talk about the Coleman Wong chapter of this story, because it is relevant, it is real, and it is one of my favorite examples of how the internet constructs a narrative out of almost nothing and then acts completely surprised when reality does not cooperate. Coleman Wong, Eala's fellow graduate of the Rafa Nadal Academy, a talented young player in his own right. At the 2025 Miami Open, both Eala and Wong were having extraordinary tournaments simultaneously. Eala was defeating Grand Slam champions and reaching the semifinals. Wong was producing upsets of his own on the ATP side. They shared an academy background, they shared a breakout moment, and the internet, bless its heart, decided that clearly these two people must be in a relationship. The speculation spread fast. Fans were doing archaeological digs through old social media posts. Journalists were asking careful, leading questions. And when a reporter finally put it directly to Eala at a press conference, "Is Coleman Wong your boyfriend?" she did not flinch. She did not hedge. She was completely, almost amusingly direct. "No, he is not." That was it. Full stop. Case closed. She did add something genuinely warm, though. She said she was super happy for him and that seeing someone she had known for so long do so well was an inspiration, not just to her, but to everyone watching. That is who she is. She shut down the rumor with one sentence and then immediately redirected to celebrating her friend's success. I respect that more than I can say. But again, the rumors existed because people were invested. And people were invested because Alex Eala has built something that goes far beyond tennis rankings and match results. She has built a relationship with a fan base unlike anything women's tennis has seen in a very long time. Let me give you some context here because I think it is easy to hear phrases like massive fan base and incredible popularity and let them wash over you without really feeling the weight of what they mean. So let me be specific. In Melbourne, at the Australian Open in January, Eala's first round match was scheduled on court 6. Not the main show court, not a premium venue, a standard outside court. And the queues to get in wrapped around Melbourne Park. Hundreds of fans were turned away because the court physically could not hold any more people. The fans who did get in created an atmosphere that her opponent, Alicia Parks, described as unlike anything she had ever experienced. Parks admitted she was rattled. She was seen in tears after the first set. She said afterward, "It was very difficult. I was so focused on the crowd in the first set, which is why it went the way it went." Parks ultimately came back to win, but the point stands, Eala's fans turned a first-round match on an outside court into an event that affected the outcome of the match itself. That is extraordinary. In Dubai, Eala herself spoke about what the crowds meant to her. After one of her wins, she reflected on the Filipino presence in the UAE and said what most people already knew but had never heard her say so clearly. She explained that there are roughly 1 million Filipinos working across the 7 Emirates, and that whenever she competes in the region, they show up. She told reporters, "I'm aware of what happens out here. It's basically the same thing back home. I want to imagine the waves of support have really made every single match all the more special. It's so difficult to describe the emotions and the actual experience of playing in front of this crowd. I'm really grateful to be here." And then she went back to playing some of the best tennis of her life. I think about that quote a lot because there is something quietly profound in it. She is not taking it for granted. She is not performing gratitude. She genuinely cannot find the words to describe what it feels like. And that authenticity, I think, is a huge part of why the love between her and her fans is so real. She sees them. She feels them. She is not above them. She is one of them, standing on a court thousands of miles from home, carrying something much larger than a tennis racket. There is also something else I want to talk about today, something the engagement rumors and the marriage proposal and all the romantic speculation tends to overshadow, and that is the friendship. The real relationships in Alex Eala's life that she has talked about openly and that tell you more about who she is than any rumor ever could. Her friendship with Turkish player Zeynep Sönmez is one of the most genuinely beautiful stories on the WTA tour right now. They met in 2021. They have traveled the world together. They have competed against each other and walked off the court still laughing. Sonmez spoke about it in an interview on the Love All podcast with a warmth that was impossible to fake. She said, "Girlhood forever. We're in this together. We see each other more than we see our families, basically. So why not be friends?" She went on to say, "With Alex, we're very close. It's not like we're just friends in tennis. We're friends outside of tennis. We talk a lot. We try to spend some time together, which is not very easy." And then she described something that I found incredibly moving, the kind of thing that reveals character better than any press conference quote. At the Abu Dhabi Open earlier this year, Eala and Sonmez were drawn against each other in the first round. The day before the match, they went to dinner together. They talked for 3 or 4 hours about life, about the tour, about everything except the match. And then the next day, they walked out onto the court and competed. Eala won 6-4, 6-3. And when it was over, everything was fine. Sonmez explained it simply. "Of course she wants to win. I want to win. We both know this. But at the end of the day, we're friends. For me, it's not a problem to play against each other and be friends at the same time." That is maturity. That is emotional intelligence. That is the kind of person Alex Eala is when the cameras are not pointed at her during a match. And Sonmez also offered something else in that interview, a tactical breakdown of what makes Eala so difficult to play against. She said Eala plays very close to the line, very aggressive. She is a lefty, which creates problems for almost everyone. She can open up angles, hit the ball flat, heavy, and fast. Sonmez said, "You always feel like you don't have so much time against her." From someone who has trained alongside her and competed against her. That is a genuine scouting report. And it tells you why the rest of the tour is going to keep struggling with her for years to come. Now let me bring all of this together, because I think there is something important here that gets lost in the noise of engagement rumors and viral finger wags and trending hashtags. What the speculation really revealed, the reason a rumor about Alex Eala's personal life became a global news story, is not gossip. It is love. Specifically, it is the love of a diaspora for one of its own. Think about what it means to be Filipino and living overseas. More than 10 million Filipinos live and work abroad. In Dubai, in Vienna, in London, in Los Angeles, in cities and towns that bear no resemblance to the Manila they left behind. They send money home. They build lives in countries where they are often invisible. They work in hospitals and construction sites and offices and kitchens, carrying the Philippines with them everywhere they go. And then one day, a 20-year-old girl from Manila shows up on a tennis court at the Australian Open, or at the Dubai Tennis Championships, or at a WTA 500 in Austria, and suddenly, they are seen. Their flag is on that court. Their name is in those chants. Their country is on the global stage. One Dubai-based photographer who covered Eala's matches put it perfectly. He said he had covered major sporting events featuring some of the biggest names in global tennis before. And then he watched Eala compete and said simply, "This is phenomenal. I am rooting for Alex. She gives home pride and recognition. The Philippines lands on the global map in tennis because of her." That is not hyperbole. That is a man standing in a stadium thousands of miles from home, feeling something he has not felt in a long time. Belonging. A Filipino writer captured it even more powerfully in an essay about what Eala represents to the nation. He wrote about what he called rare moments. Moments when a country scattered across islands and continents suddenly feels like one heartbeat. He argued that Eala's rise resonates so deeply for 3 reasons. First, it disrupts the script. Tennis is not embedded in everyday Filipino culture the way basketball is. So when a Filipino rises to the top of women's tennis, it expands what people believe is possible. Second, she represents discipline over drama. No controversy, no spectacle, just work and composure and grit, which in the current noise of modern sport feels genuinely radical. And third, she activates diaspora identity. Sporting events become shared rituals that transcend geography. Cheering for Eala is not just cheering for a player. It is asserting Filipino visibility in global arenas.